Good morning.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on our podcast. This is Talk to Them. I'm Kennitha Wade, one of your hosts.
And I'm Renauda Mitchell, your other host. And today we have with us
Cameo Thomas.
Cameo Thomas.
Awesome.
She's super dope.
Mm-hmm. We always started off with a little check-in.
Mm-hmm.
This week for me has been a little, I don't know. This was the first Thanksgiving without my dad, which is, interesting. If you lost a parent, that's an interesting experience. I wasn't in the mood at all to do much of anything really this whole week. Had some family challenges and whatever else. So it's been kind of a week. I'm glad it's over, sort of.
It's been pretty much the same for me. I'm over this week. I did. So my mom's been gone since 2005. Grandma gone since 2015. Grandpa since 2016. That's like all of my adults. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how else to put it. So I wasn't really in a holiday mood for a long time, but my kids are holiday people. So I'm like, okay, we'll do the holiday thing. And normally we switch back and forth with my brother hosting the holidays and then I'll host. So it was my year this year, but my brother had a business situation, which ended up being a wrestling event. So we're going to talk about that later.
Okay, then.
That he had to fly out for early Friday morning. So coming down for Thanksgiving when he had to fly out of Seattle just didn't make much sense. Which was fine. I was like, you know what? I'll still cook for like my uncle, my auntie, obviously my kids and whoever else, doesn't have somewhere to go for Thanksgiving but needs somewhere to eat as far as my friends and family go. And had a few people said they were coming. It ended up just being my uncle, my aunt, a friend of mine, Skrill, and then the kids. But during the cooking portion of things, it was just me. But I was also the only one in my house that drives. So when I'm like, oh, I need this, or I ran out of this, or why did y'all drink this or eat this when I told y'all that was for Thanksgiving? I was doing all that running. So I'm doing the running and the full entire meal. And it was a lot. And then I started realizing when I told you yesterday, like, I think I'm in a mood. I think I need to go outside. And then you were like, well, come over. And I was like, I think I need to stay in and clean up my house. So I've been in a mood. I tend to isolate when I'm not doing well. I'll pull back from all my people. Like, you'll be like, why haven't I heard from you? I'm like, oh, I was just busy, and that's a lie. I'm isolating. I'm not in a good space. And that's where I've been the last couple of days. And that went into, like I said, the midnight call with G talking about, let's go have a drink. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to, but he's good at motivating you to do something you don't want to do. And so I was motivated until he had to call Auntie Linda back. So then I was like, okay, then I know I get to go back to sleep. So, or not go back to sleep, but actually go to sleep. So that's what I did. And I've had a really rough morning getting here. So not to just trauma dump on everybody, but that's what it is right now for me. Sorry. It's heavy. How have you been this week?
Let it be real. No, like you guys said too, it's been a trying week.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the moon cycles or what's going on, but it's just like this week has been really trying. And it was my daughter's birthday on Thanksgiving, so trying to get everything prepared. And like you said, when you're the one doing all the cooking, it's hard. But I've come to a point where I didn't want nobody over my house this week. For Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I just needed that break, that space. My energy was low. I just wasn't trying to be around a lot of people. And I knew that I was going to have to be around a lot of people for my daughter's birthday party. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's just keep it in-house. Let me just put my music on, be to myself when I need to be. Y'all go in y'all space, I come in my space, But yeah, something about this week has been a little off. I'm happy that it's over and we got a new week.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, but like you said, you protecting your energy. You protecting yourself because you don't want to give that off to somebody else. So
right.
You adapt to that. You know when you need to just step back.
Yeah. I'll go too far though. And then people be like, I haven't heard from you. What's going on? Then that's when people like to pull up to your house, like pop-ups. But then I know people be popping up for a reason. So I'd be like, I guess I'll answer the door. But I don't be wanting to. I'll be like, I want to lay in my bed and eat Oreos and watch TV. Leave me alone. But I got good people around me who are like, yeah, you're not going to do that. So
We're talking about Thanksgiving and cooking the whole meal. I used to do that. I think about that when my oldest son was younger. I used to cook the whole meal. And, it was nothing. Now, it's like, since me and my husband have been together and we got all these kids, now we travel to everybody's house because everybody wants you there. And everybody wants you there. And everybody wants you there. And it's like, that's exhausting. And it's hard to choose which houses to go to because I got 6 houses to go to. Like, dang, how I don't want to drive around on Thanksgiving. Really, I don't. Man. I just want to sit at home. But I know sitting at home, I mean, it could be an option, but it's probably not a popular option.
Well, and then it's like you're expected to eat at everybody's house. That's a lot. I feel like there's a difference between driving to 6 different houses and then eating 6 times at your house on Thanksgiving, right?
Right. No,
like,
it is.
And that's very different.
Well, and you never know what you're going to taste, right? This is the first year I went no meat. I ain't been eating no meat all of November. And so I was like, what am I going to eat for Thanksgiving?
All sides.
All I made was some mac and cheese and some sweet potato pies. And I was going to make some greens. But I was like, so far I haven't liked greens without meat in them.
I'll make you some.
So I'm like, and then everywhere I go, I taste food. And I'm just like, this ain't it. No, this ain't it. Go to the next house. This ain't it. After the 3rd house, I was like,
except the mac and cheese.
I just want to go home. Yeah. I go to my cousin's house and eat her food, and I'm all like, I ain't eating nothing. And then I realize whose house I'm at. I'm like, oh, okay. I know what this is going to taste like. I could do this.
Yeah. And that's what I was talking about when we were talking about cooking. And I was like, no, I'm just going to do it because Thanksgiving is supposed to taste a certain way, right? And then when you let other people in your kitchen, you don't know what it's going to taste like. But if I cook it, I know what it's going to taste like. I know what I'm expecting. This is my first time cooking a turkey ever in life. And the flavor was amazing, but I forgot to flip it over breast side down. So it was not super dry, but it was slightly on the dry side. And I'm not a big, huge turkey fan, so that just ruined it for me. But it tastes cool to everybody else who had it. But I'm like, it wasn't. Like, if I'm going to eat turkey, it's got to be superb. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, other people might be like, oh my God, it's so amazing. I'm like, okay, I could eat this. Because I'm not, like, I like turkey lunch meat. I don't like turkey like that. So it was rough. I was mad. I was like, you just throw it away. Like, everybody's like, no, it's good. I cook for real. So, like, when I mess something up, like, it's like a dig to myself. Like, I'll be like, you fuck that up. Like, come on, you could do better than that. But it was my first time, so I'm trying to give myself some grace. Now I'm like, I need to make it next year so I can redeem myself. But it was a lot going on, and then it took forever for the turkey to cook. So everything was done before the turkey, and I was like, look, y'all might as well eat and get some turkey with your next plate. It's not working out. Like, the time I had to get my timing together. It's like I said, I've never done the dinner completely by myself before. Yeah. So I only got one oven. So it's
a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah. I think about going back to that. Like, no, we should just cook at home. Where it's not me and my husband, but we can share the responsibility of cooking. He cooked the turkeys this year to take to other people's houses. But we didn't have a turkey at our own house. We just didn't. I don't know. It was not, I don't know. It's special.
Yeah, we didn't have a turkey either. I was like, I'm not dealing with it.
It didn't feel like Thanksgiving.
It didn't feel, yeah. It just wasn't, I don't know, just different this year. Just wasn't like in the mood, like you said.
Yeah. It's been weird.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into, so I guess we'll start with you introducing like yourself and your journey into becoming an author and a life coach and how you want to tell that story.
Well, let's see. I'm Cameo Thomas, author, life coach, executive director of Elate Youth Mentoring now. My journey actually started, I want to say, as an author, 2017.
Okay.
I knew that I wanted to tell my story, but I got discouraged. Somebody found my notebook and was reading. It was like, you writing a book? You about to be like a tell-all? I'm just like, excuse me, it's not a tell-all, but it's my truth, it's my journey. So I got discouraged, back then, just was a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I don't want this person to be mad. I don't want them to be mad. But when 2020 hit and we all had to sit down and get real with ourselves,
Yeah.
baby, let me tell you, it got real. I had to sit with myself. I had to be like, this is my insecurity. This is where I need to grow. I'm projecting my insecurities not on my children, on my spouse, on my mom, on my dad. And I was like, you know what? I did an IG live called Pain, Power, Purpose. And I was like, okay, I talked about my life, talked about, finding your, working through the pain, acknowledging the pain, discovering your purpose and regaining your power. And then I went to Sedona, Arizona. So I'm out there, I'm tapping into my spiritual side. And God was just like, you need to put that in a book. No more IG lives. You need to write your story. So when I returned, my cousin called me and was like, you want to write your book, don't you? I didn't tell nobody.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, how'd you know? And she's very tapped in and intuitive. I was like, yeah. She's like, well, here, contact this publishing company and they'll walk you through it. Contact the publishing company. She said, just write your story. Just write it. We'll figure out the chapters and all that. So I wrote it 2021 of August, July 30th, 2021 is when I published Pain, Power, Purpose, Release, Regain, and Reveal What Is Within. And I talked about my daddy issues, the issues with an abusive mom, an alcoholic mom, not being secure with myself. I've been thin my whole life, but, being not secure with my body, being a tomboy, being in survival mode, having to just do what I need to do to survive. My mom provided a household, but I needed shoes. I needed clothes, So I had to do what I had to do to make some money, but also getting in different friendships and relationships and situationships and stuff. I had to go through it to learn more about myself. So I discussed that in the book too. I discussed, my marriage in the book. My husband cheated on me and how we worked through it. I discussed, discovering myself on a higher level, letting people go, letting go of the vices that I had as well. And then I wrote a book with my daughter because she wanted to write a book, Leia the Ladybug. She was just like, Mom, I want to write a book about helping people. So I worked with her. We published that book. But my newest book, which is like my baby,
Right.
because it's called The Rebirth. We all go through a rebirth in different aspects of your life. And this one, I talk about grief. That is like, excuse me, my favorite chapter, because it's not grief about losing someone to death, but losing yourself, losing the death of your old self and the people around you. Because as you transform and as you evolve, people aren't used to that. You're setting boundaries. You're saying no. You're saying hell no. And you're not doing those things that they wanted you to do. You're not pleasing them anymore. So I talk about the uncomfortable setting, the grief of losing those connections and losing those people, because you have to understand that when you're evolving, it's for your own good, but also it's for the good of what you're going to put out into the world. If you continue to do those old things with those people, what are you doing? You're killing yourself. You're slowly killing yourself because you're not being your true and authentic self. Right. So a lot of people have come to me. It's like, thank you. I never realized that I go through that type of grief. You go through the grief of losing, somebody, a friendship. Like, dang, I can't be friends with that person. You can, but you can't if you're trying to evolve because they're holding you back and you're doing something different. You're evolving.
Everybody can't come with
Everybody can't come with you. And I think that was one of the hardest parts from 2020 to 22 for me, is realizing that, hey, everybody can't go, and realizing that this is a grief. I'm going through a grieving process, and losing yourself and being uncomfortable and saying, hey, sometimes it's you that's the toxic person. And that's the reality of it too. Like, some people don't want to take that accountability. Like, you were the toxic one. You were the one that was projecting your insecurities, and now you're shedding it. Now you're getting rid of it, and people are uncomfortable with it, and you're missing that connection to that person. But no, it's that toxicity that you're missing. So, yeah.
So, after your first book, was there an uncomfortableness with people who found out some things about themselves from your perspective? And then the second part of that question is, did that feed into writing and really diving into the rebirth? Like, how did that connect to that? And how did you deal with the people, if there were people who were like, I can't believe you said that about me? Because a lot of times when you can tell people you hurt me when you do this, and they're like, whatever, because they don't remember it that way. And I tell people all the time, perception is reality, right? Like something could happen in front of us right now. We're all three going to remember it how we remember it. And that's our reality. A lot of people live in a delusional reality of how they remember things. What do they call it? A revisionist history or whatever. So how did you navigate? People might, come into you like, why would you say that about me? That didn't, or however they, know.
They, first, my mom, but I let her read it before I published it.
Okay.
She was like, you really put that in there? I was like, yeah, because it's my truth. But it also was helping her to realize, wow, like I messed up as a mom. I messed up. And it started, helping her. Then, I call her my stepmom. She's the one my dad was with for the longest. And she remembered those things happening, those situations in the book that happened. But then my dad and some of my siblings were like, I don't remember that happening. Some were in denial that those situations happened. But then the reality came in once we sat down and we talked about it. They were like, oh yeah, that's how it did happen. So some people were on edge. Some people didn't talk to me for a while. But when they sat with themselves and sat down and relived that situation in their mind, like they were so younger, but now they're looking back like, oh, that's how it really was. That's what happened. After that, the rebirth, that did help the rebirth to develop. It was the rebirth more as of tools. It's not really too much of my life in that one, just how transformation happens and what a rebirth looks like and how you are constantly evolving, you're constantly going through a rebirth. But yeah, people talk about it all the time, like, oh, you put your business out there. It's like, yeah, because you know what? That helps somebody else. I've had so many people come to me and said, I went through the same thing. My mom was abusive. I have that relationship. I don't have the relationship with my dad like I used to, or I never had a relationship with my dad. Or dang, my mom was abusive to me. I was dealing with that too. Or my husband cheated on me too, and had extra kids outside of the marriage. So there was a lot of people that began to open up. That book helped people like, dang, I'm not the only one out here. And it's okay. It's not the situations. Hell no, the situations ain't okay. But it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to discuss it because that's part of the healing process. When you can acknowledge it, that it happened and don't just suppress it, then that's when it's like, I can continue to grow and evolve.
And people tend to suffer in silence because of shame and embarrassment. And when it's like, oh, dang, well, she was brave enough to, tell her story. At least I can start to, even if I don't talk about it, at least I can start to acknowledge it within myself and work on whatever it is I got to work on or work through or whatever. And I think that's important. Like, it's the same when I talk about not the same as in like the same story, but the same sentiment when people are like, I can't believe you openly talk about going through domestic violence and sexual assault and this, that, and other. I do because somebody else is in there or out there somewhere, suffering, thinking, oh, or that wasn't domestic violence. We were just, we just got into it or whatever. No, that's not okay. You need to heal from that. And there's reasons why you act the way you do because that's trauma. And then just like your people in your family not remembering stuff a certain way, sometimes it's age and sometimes trauma will make you, there's parts of my life that are completely blacked out until people bring me back into it, because trauma will erase that to try and, help you move on in life.
Right.
And so I'm saying that to say I think I like how you did, this is my story. And then it was like, okay, this is my story and it's helping people, but also these are the things that I've done and that I'm still doing to help me navigate through those, traumas and situations and life changes and the things that are coming at me now. Like,
Right.
because once you like, okay, healed, done all that,
Mm-mm.
check, check, check. Here comes all this other stuff. It's like, oh, you're done with that? Here's your new set
Next.
of issues. Shadow work never stops, right? So I think it's great that it wasn't just like, oh, here's my story, but also here's some tools
Right.
in two separate situations, right? Because I think reading and acknowledging and accepting, oh, I got some stuff to work through, and then giving them these tools. Like, once you work through all this, here's some things that help me to help you guide yourself through, what you're going through. I think that's a great tool. And I just want to say, your baby is such a beautiful little person.
Thank you.
She came in one of our pop-ups. Y'all both sold y'all's books, but everybody was like, I have to get her book. How did she feel when she published and was like, I'm an official author and I'm out here?
So she was excited that she was able to write and pick out the pictures, but she don't like being out there talking. She don't.
Okay.
She's so shy when it comes to that, but she likes talking about it to people. It's like her, like other kids. And if you come up to her and you're talking up to her, like, tell me about your book. She's like, she'll open up, she'll talk about the book. But when you just put her on Front Street, like on the stage, and she's just like, but she's happy about it. The book is in about 20 schools.
Okay.
50 classrooms. And then we were just in Vancouver Mall, and we saw it at the free library in the mall. So she likes seeing that. And it builds her confidence as well. So.
Okay.
But I want to go back to the acknowledging. The acknowledging part, I think that's the key for us as people, as humans, to evolve and to heal. And the healing is ongoing. You're never healed. But to acknowledge, that acknowledgement piece is so important. Like, I know I need to make this change. I know I need to do that. And then that's when you start taking those action steps to change. So, yeah.
Well, even people acknowledging how you feel. Because I feel a lot of times the perception that we have kind of causes us to perceive a situation that way. Doesn't mean that's how they meant for it to be, right? A lot of times I think, especially in parenting, think about my oldest son, and I look at him and listen, like, how did he thinks that something happened? We didn't treat him right or whatever. And it was like, how could you feel that way? I'm not saying it didn't happen. I have to acknowledge his pain, but I'm like, knowing as a parent, like, we did the best we could as first time parents, learning how to raise a kid and growing up at the same time, right? That now as an older parent, he's 21. My kids at home are now middle school, elementary, and high school. And it's looking at how parenting has changed for me now. Makes me think about my parents when we were growing up. I know I didn't have the best upbringing. My mom had all kind of issues. My dad had, the whole family had issues. And it gives me a different sense of, like, well, they probably did the best they could. Doesn't mean it was good or, maybe effective, or it probably definitely wasn't the best, but it was the best that they had. Sometimes as we grow up and go through those things ourselves, we realize that the things that we dealt with in our past or in our childhood, our parents might have been doing the best they could, even if it wasn't maybe enough.
Right.
Somebody said it was years ago, and it made me have to sit with myself and really be like, this is what made me let go of the tension with my dad, right? Because we're talking about a man who was never a father to some of his kids, but not to the rest of his kids. Like, me and my brother Dion didn't get my dad, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He popped up on him a few times. I'd never seen him, as a child or whatever. And we got a sibling that was adopted out, a sibling that died before we ever even got a chance to meet her. And then, 2 other siblings that he helped raise them at least for a little while he was with their moms or whatever. And for me, I was just like, I remember when I was younger, I was like, it doesn't bother me not having a father in my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get plenty of love from my mom. She takes care of me and my brother. Like, I really thought that it didn't affect me. But whenever I found out it started to affect me later on in life is in dating, right? Like, I had no guide. Like, I had positive Black male role models in my life, but I feel like there is something about having your father being there, whether he's good or bad. You have a guide, a compass, right? Like, this is what I want or this is not what I want. And I didn't have that, right? Now, and my mom had like a long-term boyfriend who was a great dude or whatever, not the best, relationship, but as a child, when you're looking at them, you're like, you know what, this is cool, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I had that, but at the same time, like, genetics is crazy, right? Like, I found, like, as I got to know who my father was, I found that I still was attracted to men like him, even though I was never around him, didn't know anything about him. And I'm like, how is it wild? Like, just to put my business out there, my dad has 6 kids by 6 different women. My daughter's father has 6 kids by 5 different women, but like, same situation. Like, how do I put my daughter in the same situation that I ended up being in? Now, her father's a little more involved than mine was, but not like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like, you are basically my dad, right? And how did that happen when he was not there? Like, that really is a thing. And then, I had to realize when somebody's like, everybody has biases, and I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have any biases. Da 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 da. I love everybody. I accept everybody. This is younger Renauda, right? Like, I don't hate anybody. But then I realized I had a problem with people who chose drugs over their children. I didn't care what you had going on, because why is anything stronger than your love for your children? I got a little older, realized how things actually work in life. I actually now work for an agency that's a recovery agency. So, like, I deal with people in addiction all the time. This is like my life's journey, I guess, just helping me to further forgive him as a person. But what kicked that all off is somebody saying, your parents are just people doing the best they can. But as a mother, I understand that, right? Like, I'm doing the best I can. Like, I can't buy everybody Jordans every other week. Right. You know what I'm saying? But y'all got shoes. You know what I'm saying? But my dad, like, but you're supposed to be better than that because you're my father. You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't you get over your addictions and not just addiction to drugs, to fast lives and all this stuff, to be a father? And I did hold that against him. And I had to realize something else I do is hold grudges. I do. I'm like, I do not play. I'm like, oh, okay, bet. And then, like, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm acknowledging, you know what I'm saying? But it's bad. I didn't realize it was that bad. It's bad, y'all. Like, I'm still working on it. And like, even the other day, like, somebody was supposed to help me with something. And then they was frustrated with not being able to contact me because I had my daughter at the doctor, and then it's at the basement. You can't hear it. And I said, listen, if you're that frustrated, I'll figure it out myself. I am quick to be like, no problem. I'll put this refrigerator, strap it on my back, and I'll bring it home myself. Like, don't. Then that turned into a whole thing. I digress. Anyway, I'm saying that to say, with the way that I hold grudges and then the way that I viewed my father and his addictions, like, I really had to sit with myself, like, am I mad at this man for being human?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I didn't like that area. I didn't like having to sit there. And then, like, I forgave him. But people think because I don't fool with him that means that I don't forgive him. Like, he's not a healthy person. So I'm not going to fool with him. Like, there's nothing about what he has to offer in life that is healthy for me and my children.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he was like, I was a fucked up dad, but I want to be a great grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Then absolutely. If you want to make up for that by being like, you not even make up for that. If you just want to come in and be a good grandfather to these 2 kids, I can work with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I am who I am. You can't we don't have a relationship where you can treat me like a daughter. We just have to be two adults in the same space, and I will respect you for what you have to offer. That's a really hard space to be in. In your books, do you help? I'm trying not to make this all about me. So in your books, do you help? So I'm trying not to give it like from where I'm at, where I read these books, right? So I'm trying to have you talk about it. But do you help people with that accountability piece, sitting in there and acknowledging what parts you played, even if it's 99% the other person's fault, right? There is always some part that you played in the things that happened, right? When we're talking about relationships, not like some random attacks or something like that, but like, do you help to navigate through that, help people navigate through
Absolutely. In my first book, that's the first thing is accountability.
that?
What role did you play in this? I'm going to give an example. So I'm just being real. My husband was an alcoholic and I hated it so bad. And he used to come home and I would just pick at him. Like, you drunk, motherfucker. You drunk, you know? But then I was like, and it made it worse. So I was like, hold on. This is what he wants to do. That's on him. I can't make him stop. I can't make him change it. But I'm making the situation worse by attacking him because I don't like it. But also, that came from the abuse and the alcoholism from my mom. And it just was reminding me of her and trying to force him to stop. But I was like, that's me. But once I stepped back and was like, you know what? This is what you want to do? Go ahead. Then it was like, I sat back and I was like, that was me. I played a role in being the nagging wife and just being mad, projecting my issues, my pain, my hurt, my hatred onto him. So really, I talk about, acknowledging it, taking that accountability for your actions, but you journaling it, and then going back and reading it, but not just reading it aloud. Also going into the mirror and reading it. So that way you see yourself and you taking that like, dang, I did that and I broke down in tears. But that's the first step. You admitting like, dang, I played a role in some of these things, in these situations. So that having to sit with some of those things that you've played a big role in is hard. And as an adult, and me even now just thinking back, like, yeah, I was a bitch. Yeah, I did do that. Part of it was me. Having to say, doing that, taking that accountability is hard. It's hard for a lot of people, especially even in friendships. It's hard to be like, dang, I was the gossiper. I was the one that was, kind of jealous, of what you have and I don't have, that was me, So taking that accountability is key.
And taking that accountability when somebody else does something to you. That's when I found. I think that was my first experience of like looking inside, like, okay, I know what you did was not okay. You should not have done that, lying, cheating, all that thing. But like, let me see what I'm doing, and really, really sitting and looking at, okay, how am I affecting this person? Maybe I didn't tell them to go do it, but, this and that, and this adds up, and this is a lot, and that's a lot. And understanding that,
Like, how did we get here? How did I contribute to us being here?
And then I know I found myself in that space when my husband cheated. It's like, okay, what part did I play? Like, maybe I could have done something better. And maybe I didn't do anything wrong at all, but really seeing how I could change or communicate. How can we get past it? And what are we doing this for?
Right.
Yeah. You want me to come up with another subject?
I mean, you can. I was also just in the I forgot where I was going with it. My bad. Oh, I was gonna ask, like, I know you said, in 2020, that's what sat you down to write your book, but we come from similar backgrounds of, working in the schools and doing the nonprofits, and we also met at the same nonprofit that the Wells and I, or Miss Wells, and I met at, back in the day where Cameo used to harass me from her cubicle. I'd be over there minding my business and doing my work, and she over there harassing me. But also, like, it was, it's funny because also Cameo was somebody else who knew my brother, and they met in, like, a different space, and then we met at work. My brother Dion, a lot of people that I know in Portland, somehow y'all grew up together, and then we became friends later on in life. But what made you be like, you know what? That was great English. You know what? Let me just give up with this nonprofit stuff and fully focus on my journey in being a life coach and an author, and taking that step that is so scary for some of us, because I'm in that, should I just go for it, or do I need to keep the steady paycheck coming in because it's scary? Because I know that's coming every 2 weeks.
Listen, it's very scary. I had to pray, and believe in myself. It's still hard. Financially, it's a struggle. But also, I had to step away from that corporate world and that regular 9 to 5, because at the end of the day, I'm a parent, and I'm an involved parent, and I got to be accessible to my kids. If they have an event going on at their school, I'm there. If I got to pick my kid up, especially my youngest. And because with my older two, I wasn't like that. And I see the effects that it has on them. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something different. As they got older, I'm going to be more involved. I'm not going to just work. Yeah, I'm working. They have everything that they could possibly want, but they needed me. They needed mom. So I was like, you know what? I have to just step back and start healing. Because my healing was also projecting on people I work with as well. So I took that time to just step back and take a break, and write down my goals, write down what I wanted to do. And then I was just like, you know what? Money ain't everything. Money is not, it's going to happen. It's going to come. I believe God is going to provide. He's going to provide everything that I need. So I did go back to Portland Public Schools for a little bit, but then I was just like, this ain't it. I'm in this office, but what am I doing to give back? What am I doing? Then I also can't do the things that I want to do. So I completely left. I've started my own nonprofit for mentoring young girls. We'll be doing boys as well. And just feeling free. And just know that you just got to do it. I think that's the hardest thing, is just taking that first step and just doing it. Nonprofit, I feel like it's still dear to my heart, but I have to do it that works best for me and my family. You have to do it what works best for you and your family and you. So I just got to do it. It's hard. It's ongoing. It's been days. It was like, dang, do I want to get this Starbucks? But I need gas for the week.
Right.
Okay, man, I'm going to get a smaller size, and then I'm going to get like $20 in gas.
Right.
And then, then something will come through, or, I'll get a royalty check. And that's another thing, like just really trusting that, it's all going to work out. And you're going to have moments of, you're going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be scary, but just do it and have the right people. That's another thing. Make sure you got the right people around you that's going to support you as well. Hold you accountable for your dreams and what you want to do. And Renauda, did you do it yet? Just having those people that encourage you to step out and do it. And it's okay to still have, that security. Just don't lose sight of your dream and taking those action steps to do it. Because once you're going to have to let that corporate go completely.
Right.
You're going to have to, because it's going to start getting so big for you. And then look, you're going to be like, dang, look, I can't do both. Which one do I want to do?
Yeah.
And which one is going to be more fulfilling? And it's the one that's dear to your heart.
And I'm going to tell you, you've always been one of my favorite people. But I'm going to tell you, when I knew for a fact that you was definitely one of my favorite people is when I had to switch my baby's schools. And she was there by herself at a school for the first time because Donald was off in middle school. And I was just like, okay. She was like, I'm not working today. I'm not, because if I need to go up there. And then you was like, hey girl, hey. That's how we text each other. Hey girl, hey. And she was like, I see your baby. I was like, you at her school? And I was like, I'm not even tripping no more. Like, I can relax because I know if anything happened, you gonna act as if you was me up there. And I was like, I was so relieved. Like, you just do not know. Because I was nervous. Like, I don't know these teachers. I don't know this administration. My baby in there by herself. She is a very vocal person. And sometimes that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, if something happened to my baby, like, you know, I've posted on Facebook several times, I will tear this school down brick by brick. And I'm on there, and people are like, don't do it. I said, oh, no, it's too late. I'm on my way. Like, I am on my way. But that was more so once they got to middle school. That school wasn't too much of a problem. But I just wanted to say that to let you know, like, I've always appreciated you as a person, except in the cubicles.
So no,
I be minding my business.
No, we got to go back to that story. So listen.
What?
She can sing. She can blow.
I can hold a tune.
Listen. You would be in that cubicle, and I'll be like, Renauda. You're like, what? I'm like, what you singing? Nothing. And I will turn on like Pandora, and turn it up so that she can hear it, and she'll get to humming it, and then I'll turn the Pandora down, and I get to hear her. But she was. I
didn't know she could hear me.
And she was like timid and quiet, but to see you evolve. And to see you do your spoken word and your poetry has been amazing. You got out of that cubicle. You got out of that box that was holding you in. So I'm proud of you, and keep going.
It was tied. It was under some bricks, under some water. Like,
yeah,
that was crazy. That place let a lot of people go, and then people started flourishing.
Yeah.
After
I noticed that.
I'm just gonna say that I haven't mentioned their name. Just keep saying that place, but like, you know, once you leave and then you get to find out, like, it's something about, I don't know if it's like the cult culture that just makes you want to be like, while I'm there, it's just that and that's all it is. But then once you leave, it's like the world is bigger than that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I mean, multiple people. Like, thinking about all the people that I know that are no longer there who are doing so many things. And I'm not knocking them. They do, you know, what they do in the community. They great, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying, those of us who were in positions where we were stifled or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you get up out of there and it's like, I can do more. I'm not all about this one specific position or thing or whatever. And then it was like even worse at that other agency we worked at together, because that one was like way different. Like, oh, and add racism, sprinkle racism.
Oh, yeah.
On it. And racism in nonprofit is when you're at a white agency, and I'm saying a white agency because there's nonprofits and then there's culturally specific nonprofits. And when you're at an agency that's not culturally specific, the things that they do not care about, and then you gotta be like, hey, that was racist, or hey, that was sexist, or hey, that was homophobic, or hey, that was... Like, I shouldn't we're all grown here. Why do I have to keep saying this?
Yeah.
Then I was on that equity council, and that was just a lot. I had targets on my back just because I'm speaking up for people will come whisper in your ear, hey, can you help me with this? I got this going on, blah, blah, blah. So then you speak up for them, and then you become the target.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, Renauda, oh. And I do always have something to say. That's who I am as a person. But also, I'll have extra to say when I'm saying something for somebody else who is scared to say something, but they want something said. But then how you just gonna let them shoot at me, and then you like, ooh, and go that way?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's your issue.
That's just your issue.
This ain't even got nothing to do with me. I was going hard for somebody over a washing machine or whatever. It was hypothetical washing machine. And then they were like, well, blah, blah. It's like, at the end of the day, this isn't even about me. I don't even qualify for this thing that I'm trying to argue, because they were trying to constitute what makes an emergency for somebody. And they were like, a washer or a dryer is not an emergency. But in my mind, I'm like, if this person lives in a particular type of housing and they have housekeeping inspections, but their laundry is backed up because they can't afford to go to the laundry room, they had a washer and dryer, but their washer broke, then that washer is an emergency because it can affect their housing. So how can you say what is or is not an emergency? You know what I'm saying? Like a car breaking down and getting back and forth to work, y'all be like, that's an emergency. But at the end of the day, they could get a bus pass and get on the bus. You know what I'm saying? By your logic of that's not an emergency. You can't tell people what's an emergency to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so they were like, it was like higher ups, like really upset with me. And I was like, they're like coming at me. I said, at the end of the day, it's not even my issue. So y'all can be mad at me if you want to. This is why I was in debate class, because I'm good at arguing the point that has nothing to do with me. But I'm not arguing it just to argue. Y'all need to see that this is a problem. Yeah. Y'all sitting up from y'all perch where y'all can buy a washer if your washer goes out. The rest of us that y'all ain't paying shit can't do that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it was a lot. We didn't been through some spaces.
We didn't been through
together.
some spaces that we're the service workers, but we qualify for the service. Like that's another thing with it, with that.
Or you make $1 too much for the services.
Yeah.
That'd be the one that be like, it's just $1 and I can't like not work an hour because then if I don't get the services that I'm applying for because I didn't work this hour, now I need that $18 back. Yeah. But I think that's what I was making when I first started working there. $18. Like, are you serious right now?
But see, that just shows, your heart for being of service to people and having a heart to help people. And that's something that you do, but you do it in different aspects too. Like I said, with your poetry, like hearing you and listening to you is just like, wow. Like it's healing. I know it's healing for me when I hear it. Yeah. So I know it's probably healing for you. It's probably healing for, so many. So keep doing it, please. Yeah. And I'm still waiting on the album.
I don't know what she's talking about. Who's doing that?
Or a mixtape, something.
I might. I've been toying with it. I got a few songs that I was gonna. You know what I was gonna do was put together a features album, like all the songs that I'm on with other people. And just throw that in with a few new songs and be like featuring La Libra, the artist or whatever. I was thinking about that, but I don't want to say I'm going to do that because then people are going to be like, oh, well, what's going on with this? And blah, blah, blah. The book is still coming. Like all this stuff is still happening. I just...
You said you don't want to be held accountable.
I don't.
Well, we gonna hold you
we're just going to be honest. Who wants to be held accountable? Like, I want to just be delusional and just walk around. It's fun there.
See, that's that. We're not afraid of failure. That's afraid of success.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely a thing for me. I feel like, I feel like you probably in this category too of the growing up as the good girl, the perfectionist, the this, the that, to an extent, right? Like, I am used to being good at things.
Yeah.
When I am not good at things, I don't know how to handle that. That stresses me out. Like, why can't I do this? Like, I feel stupid. I feel like, because things just come easily to me. So when I run across something that's not easy, it's like, whoa. And then when in this arts, in this, affecting people's lives journey, you don't know which way this is going to go. You don't know what if success is coming today or in 10 years. You don't know if it's going to come after you are dead and gone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. But I can't not do art. You know what I'm saying? So it's this weird space for me. And I am that. I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. Like, that is me. Like, if you don't like it, keep that to yourself. Like, I remember I said that one day and D'Angelo was like, whoa. And I was like, I don't. It was when I first started, because I was like, if y'all criticize me, I'm not coming back. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I did my very first poem at 2 Cent, and I did a very safe, like, it was like about meditating and trees and, the water. And it was very, very artsy. And then like other people got up there and I was like, oh, I can talk about real shit in here. Like I didn't know how this worked. So I just did a safe poem because I wasn't sure. Then that's when I broke out like Black Men and like all the other stuff that I did. And people were like, well, how long have you been writing? Well, I started writing when I was 4. Why did you just start doing this? Because I ain't like to get up in front of people. I still don't. I'm not a host. They made me host at the other thing. And I sort of kind of was like, I'm not going to really be up here. And then I did a ladies' night thing where they made me host. I got the show done in 45 minutes. It was supposed to be like a 3-hour show. Because I was like, get down. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? That's not my bag. But yes, my friends, especially the creative ones, tend to be like, where's this? Where's that? I thought you was doing this. And I'm like, I am. It's on my vision board in my phone. But I gotta take it out my phone because I'll see it when I want to see it, right? And that's part of me being like, yeah, no, I don't have to do it because I don't see it. But I need to start putting them up. When my space I'm creating, I'm gonna put like up a few vision boards. But I have an idea about a vision board that I'm not gonna put on here because if somebody steal it, I'll be very upset.
Yeah, don't share.
And it might be a thing already, but like just a way to maneuver vision boards that I'm gonna start marketing when I get a moment. But yeah, I'm gonna start putting all the things out there, all the things that we share, like as creative ideas. I seen the grant thing that you sent me at 3:00 in the morning.
I haven't been to sleep yet, honestly.
You ain't been asleep?
No, I'm tired. I don't know what.
You don't look
when she said my husband called her at 12 something. He called me, but I missed his call. And then I called him at like 3 because I was up with the kids. Well, I braided Nevaeh's hair yesterday. So I was braiding and I did my son's hair last night. And then they wanted to watch TV and we was all chilling. And then right when I was going to bed, somebody came home. Oh. It was like, come out here and hang out.
And then went to sleep when you left for the podcast?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like, nope, get up. Come with me.
No, he about to come here for the
I know. Podcast. You don't get no sleep either. Get up. We going to the podcast now.
I'm like, oh, that's okay. I'm all right. I was like, I don't know why I'm still awake at 6. What time is it? 7:15? Oh, okay. Sure.
I looked at my phone at 7 something. I was like, why did Kennitha send me a text at 3:23 in the morning? I was like, she don't be
It was on her mind. She had to get it to you.
I was just up. I really don't know why I was up. I was just, I don't know. The last couple of days just been weird.
Yeah.
So I was just up and just so happened to be one of the nights where he needed to be up, I guess.
So did they go to the bar? Okay.
Yeah.
He never called me back. So I was like, okay, I get to go to sleep.
Yeah, they went to the bar. And then they went to the cemetery and, chilled.
Yeah, I don't know what cemetery they went to, but if it was my folks' cemetery, I'd have been very like, this was not the plan. Because now I'm going to be laying here crying and can't breathe. Somebody going to have to get me up in the morning because I'm going to be laying in the dirt. Like, like, what are you doing?
Well, I think when I called him back, I think that kind of, I was like, oh, okay, I can go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We coming up on our...
We getting there.
We good on time.
So, Cameo, how does somebody get involved with your mentor program?
So they can go to elateyouth.org to find out about the program. Contact me, 503-482-9286, or send me an email, info@elateyouth.org. Right now, we're doing the 10 girls cohort with middle school girls, January 11th. Then we'll be doing the boys cohort as well. This is just for our Black young men and young women at this time, because that's where the need is, the at-risk youth right now. And they need that mentorship. We need, something for these girls to do. They do the 12-week program first, and then they're connected with a mentor that stays connected with them up until they're 18 or they decide to not be in the program anymore. Okay. And it's completely free. We do not charge at all. They will never pay for anything.
That's what's up. And for those who are challenged in the spelling area, can you spell elates? Because I could just see people being like,
Elate. So elate is ELATE.
Okay.
And elate is high spirited, to lift your spirits. So that's where it came from. I was just laying there like, okay, I need to think of a name. And that immediately came to me because I wanted to touch the hearts, and I want these kids to touch the hearts of others.
Mhm.
So that's what Elate means, to lift up and be high spirited.
I love that.
So eventually you'll get into high school. I got some high school kids.
Right.
So
'Cause,
yes.
So I was like, hold on.
Listen, so when I put it out there as ages 10 to 18, the majority of the kids that signed up, or the parents that signed the kids up, was middle school. We want to do high school as well. I don't know if you guys heard about the night sports event that happened at the Boys and Girls Club not this past weekend.
Yeah, the remix.
Mhm.
Yes, that past weekend. So that was a success. But we also did a girls group in there, and it was high schoolers, and it was amazing. So we're going to continue to do that monthly. So be looking out for that. So Elate will be in that space as well with the high school girls. So while the boys are doing the sports, the girls will be in the rooms as well, doing our group mentoring and sessions, and doing affirmations and vision boards, and just really digressing and just opening up and building that relationship and having a safe space for these kids.
Mm-hmm. And that's just for high school girls?
Actually, it's a mixture. So it's all kids, but it ended up being mainly high school girls that came in there into the space. But it'll be broken up as well. Like the first hour will be, or first half, 45 minutes will be like high schoolers, and the next other 45 minutes will be middle schoolers. There wasn't too many elementary schools. Like there was a little bit of elementary school girls, but they were doing like different activities and stuff. But the really deep talks, that's really for high schoolers. Just whoever show up, as well.
We're trying to figure this out because we got a mixture of kids that we want to kind of be like, you need an additional mama voice in your face, in your ear.
Yeah, they do. My high school girls, they're freshmen at Jeff. And, I'm like, okay, your freshman year, you got to kind of figure it out.
Yeah,
test the water, see how you doing. But
who you are.
They definitely need, something more. And kids don't want to listen to their parents.
Not at all.
They think we don't know nothing. We don't know what
you're talking about. Through it or nothing.
Right. You're trying to control
And I keep
me.
telling them, I've been there. I've been your age. You haven't been mine.
I know what you're about to do before you even do it.
Especially my daughter, because it's like, that's my face. So when you make a face, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. And I know you, so I know if this pop off, this is more than likely what you about to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, just having them connected with more individuals that you trust, that have a good, sound, that can tell them the right thing, or a way to look at it that they respect. I know my daughter, oftentimes, she has a hard time just trusting people. And when adults break that trust, for her, it's like something else, and it's hard to watch her have somebody she trusts, and then they turn around and say something that she told them in, good faith against her in a way that can be harmful. It's like, why do people do that? Especially the kids.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm always looking for other ways to get them a little more mentorship where, they can hear the same good information from somebody they might trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sign her up. Sign her up.
Okay, we always end our episodes with a gem, so we got to think about what we've talked about, and maybe what the takeaway is for people to think about or consider. And should I go first?
You ready?
Yeah, I can go first. I think my gem today goes back to acknowledging how somebody else feels. Oftentimes, even if we didn't mean for it to be hurtful or whatever we did to somebody else, if somebody is hurt by our actions or our words, we have to acknowledge that and apologize for that, even if that wasn't your intention. But just acknowledging can do something totally different for that person. And it can be really healing to acknowledge how they feel. And just know that even if it wasn't your intention, doesn't mean that's not what the impact was. So
that's that county intent versus impact. They drilled that in. And I'll say too, when you do that, it allows for better communication moving forward, because at least last time we had this tough conversation or interaction, you acknowledged, my hurt feelings. So maybe it won't be as hard to have this conversation next time. So my gem is just going to be going back to, the whole situation with my dad is, acknowledging that people are all, we're all like spirits, or however you want to say it, having a human experience, right? We're all here to learn. We're all here on some journey. We're all making mistakes, and we're achieving things as well. And sometimes you get hurt in the process of other people learning, and sometimes you hurt people in the process of you learning. So I think just realizing that everybody is human. Like, I have this poem called Batman and Superman Are Not Real, based off of, you know, having these people in my life that the way that they paint themselves and then the way that you see them for a while makes it seem like, oh my God, this is like the superhero, or they are so dope. They're this, that, and the other. And then you start finding out, oh no, this is a human. They make mistakes. What is happening? Why is Batman Bruce Wayne? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all of it just starts to all come down, and just not putting people on pedestals, not making people, you know, not ranking people better than other people. There are people that are closer to you, and that's fine. But I do have a tendency to just love people immediately all the same, right? Like, if you just come into my life and you're my folks, and I love you the same way that I love somebody for 20 years, because like love is love for me.
Right.
But in that, I think that I need to start more often being more aware of making sure that I just view everybody as human, because then when they make a mistake, you're punishing them for how you viewed them.
Right.
And that's not their fault. Even if they told you all these great things about themselves, you're still punishing them because they made a human mistake. And it can be fucked up. It can be. And it can be like, wow, why would you do that? But at the same time, they're human and they're allowed to make mistakes. So just humanize people and understand that people are going to mess up, and it may change your view of them, but you shouldn't punish them for it.
Right. Right. Let's say my gem is that we're all evolving, and we're evolving at different levels. Respect where somebody is in their journey and their healing, but also be of service to them. Love on them, regardless. Love is the highest human act. So love them where they're at, and give them some grace as well. And think about, where you were at a point in time where you weren't at your best. And just respecting that. And nobody's better than anyone. We're just at different levels. And holding that space. So just really taking that in, and I would say just allowing grace for people around you. Like you said, we're human, having these experiences. So just take that in account when you are interacting with people. Just look at it as a different eye, not always your perspective. As a human, as a human, like you said, we're all having these experiences. And love, I mean, at the end of the day, it's if you show somebody some love and you bless them, like send them a blessing, bless their mind, bless their hands, bless whatever their heart. Sometimes just bless them. I would say do that. That's my gem as well. It's just bless them to go, and then you can bless them to go about their day and go about their life and their journey.
That's good.
I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
for coming.
Of course.
Yes, thank you. It was a good conversation for sure.
It really was. I knew this was going to be a good conversation.
Just like last week. It's been good. I love having guests on.
Yeah.
For me, it's like just a confirmation of what I wanted to capture. Good conversation, things that can put something out there for other people to kind of think of. Right. And also just, for us to get to know a little bit more about you and what you're about and all those good things. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you both.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Talk to Them.
Where every story counts. Right?
All right.
See you next week.